Next time when I went to his shop, I ordered several pairs. It was very long before they came, but they were better than ever. So after his brother died, I went to his shop once and ordered several pairs, seeing the pathetic condition that he was in, the cobbler was in. Then he took a very, very long time to send me the boots. It was a very long time before they came, before the shoes came to me. But they were, when they came, I was very happy because the shoes were better than ever. One simply could not wear them out. The shoes were so good that the shoes would never, never get worn out, would never get spoiled. And soon after, I went abroad. So soon after I received the parcel of boots, I had to go abroad. So I couldn't go back to the shop for a very long time as I went abroad. It was over a year, more than a year, before I was again in London. So I had to go abroad, couldn't go back to the shop for almost a year. After 1 year, I came back to London, and the first shop I went to was my old friend's cobbler's shop. So soon after coming back to London, I visited my friend's shop. I had left a man of 60. I came back to one of 75. So when I left London a year ago, the cobbler was a man of 60. But when I came back after 1 year, he looked like a man of 75. He had aged so much. He was pinched, he had gone pale and worn, completely tired, and even tremulous, quivering, shaky, and who genuinely did not at first know me. So when I came back to his shop after a year, he found it very difficult to recognize me. He was very pale, he was very weak, he looked very, very old, and he was shaky. Oh, Mr. Gessler, I said, sick at heart. I greeted him, feeling upset, sick at heart. How splendid your boots are. See, I've been wearing this pair nearly all the time I have been abroad. So I told him, just to make him happy, your shoes are splendid. You know, when I went abroad, I wore just these shoes. Your pair was worn nearly all the time when I was abroad, and they are not half worn out, are they? See, I have continuously worn these shoes, but still they are not worn out. They look new, they look fresh. He looked long at my boots. It was a pair of Russia leather, and his face seemed to regain steadiness, strength. He looked very pale earlier, but when he looked at my shoes, he regained his strength, enthusiasm, and putting his hand on my instep here, the inner arch of a shoe. The inner arch of his shoe, putting his hand on my instep, he said, do they fit you here? So when he saw my shoes, he just touched it. He put his hand on my instep and said, and asked me, do they fit you here? I had trouble with that pair, I remember. He asked me whether it fits me there at the instep. And he says also he had trouble in making that pair of shoes, and he remembered it well. Remembered it very well. Then I told him that they had fitted me beautifully. Then he asked me, do you want new pairs of shoes? I can make them quickly. It is a slack dime. It is cheap as well. He said, okay, if you want to place order, do it. I won't take a long time. I'll make it quickly. Moreover, it is not that expensive. I answered, okay, please. I want boots of all round, all kind. Okay, make me shoes of all kind. I'll be happy to have your shoes. Then he said, okay, I'll make a fresh model, a new model. Your foot must be bigger, so I'll make a big one. And with utter slowness, he traced round my foot, felt my toes, only one looking up to say, did I tell you my brother was dead? So while taking the measurement of my foot, he looked up at me and asked me whether he had told me that he lost his brother. To watch him was painful. I found it very, I, I felt very sad to watch his sad face. So weak he had gone, feeble had he grown. I was glad to come away from the shop. I had given those boots up when one evening they came. So I placed order for a new pair of shoes and I had forgotten about that. But one evening the shoes arrived. Opening the parcel, I set the 4 pairs out in a row. So I had placed order for 4 pairs and all the 4 pairs were intact. They arrived. Then one by one I tried the shoes. There was no doubt about it. In shape and fit, in finish and quality of leather, they were the best he had ever made me. He had told me he would make me fresh. A pair of shoes. He stuck to his word and the shoes were excellent. And in the mouth of one of the shoes, one of the walking boots, I found his bill. So there were 4 pairs of shoes. In the mouth of inside one shoe, I found the bill. The amount was the same as usual. He didn't charge more, but gave me quite a shock. When I saw the bill, I was really shocked. He had never before sent it in till quarter day. So when I saw the bill, I was really shocked because before earlier, he had never sent it till quarter day. Quarter day, that day is marking the division of the year into quarters when payments are due. He had never sent me the bill till the time for making the payment arrived. But now he sent it along with the shoes. I was surprised to see this. I went downstairs, flew downstairs and immediately I wrote a check and posted it at once with my own hand. A week later, passing the little street, I thought I would go in and tell him how beautiful the shoes were, how splendidly the new boots fitted. But when I came to where his shop had been, his name was gone. To my shock, I found that his name was missing. The shop was there, but his name was gone. Still there in the window were the slim shoes pumps, the patent leathers with the cloth tops and the sooty riding boots. But in the window I could see the shoes which were displayed, but his name was not there. I entered the shop feeling very much disturbed. In the two little shops, again made into one, was a young man with an English face. So I entered the shop feeling very much upset or disturbed because my friend's name was not there. And when I entered the shop, I found that the two shops have been combined again into one. Earlier in the beginning, years ago, they were combined into one. They were combined into one. Later, a few years ago, they were separated. The other part was let off to some other cobbler. But now when I pass by the street, I came to know that the two shops are combined again, but my friend's name was missing. And in the place of my cobbler friend, I saw a young man with an English face. I asked him, Mr. Gessler in? Is Mr. Gessler in? Where is Mr. Gessler? When he heard the question, he gave me a strange, ingratiating look, approving look. He said, no, sir. He said, no, he is not here. No, sir. He said, no, but we can attend to anything with pleasure. The new cobbler gave me a happy look, ingratiating look here, approving, favorable, smiling look. And he said, he's not here, sir. I can do anything that you want. Okay, we can attend to anything with you with pleasure. We have taken this shop over. I am the new cobbler. I have taken over his shop. You have seen our name there, no doubt. Next door, we make for some very good people. We make shoes even for the royal family, the rich people in the town. He was trying to get a new customer. That's why he thought I would be his prospective customer. So he spoke to me kindly, politely, and he told me, "Sir, you can please order for shoes. I'll give you the best possible shoes. You know, we make shoes for very good people." Then I said, yes, that's okay, but what about Gessler? Then he said, "Sir, he's a dad." I was shocked. Dad? I received these boots from him just last week, Wednesday week. A week ago, I received the shoes. Then he said, yes, it's shocking, no doubt. Poor old man starved himself. You know, he died of starvation. A week ago, he died, no doubt. The poor man starved himself to death. He went without food and he died of starvation. I said, "Oh God, he died of starvation." Then he said, "Yeah, that was slow starvation. He had stopped eating any food for a long time. The doctor called it slow starvation. You see, he went to work in such a way without eating anything, without having any kind of food, would keep the shop on, wouldn't have a soul touch his boots except himself. So he went to work in such a way to his shop, would keep the shop on, he would keep it open, he wouldn't allow anyone else to touch his boots. When he got an order, it took him such a long time. People won't wait. He lost every customer. So now he was alone. So he had to do the work alone. He wouldn't take the help of anyone else to make shoes. He himself sat, himself did his work. Naturally, he took a long, long time to deliver the goods, deliver the shoes. So when he got an order, it took a long time for him to make the shoes. Naturally, people became impatient. They couldn't wait. So he lost his customers one after another. There he would sit, going on and on. I'll say that for him, not a man in London made a better boot. I'm very sure he made the best shoes, but people did not have the patience to wait for his shoes, so they went to other shops, they went to other cobblers. There he would sit going on and on. I'll say no one else in the city of London made better shoes. But look at the competition. Now there is tough competition. He never advertised. He never advertised himself saying that he made shoes for the royal family and the rich people. Would have the best leather. He had the best leather, but it all himself. Well, there it is. What could you expect with his ideas? He had the best leather, no doubt. And he wanted to do everything by himself. Now, how can you do that when in a world of tough competition? Then I asked him, forget about him. What about starvation? How did he starve? Why did he starve to death? Then he said, so that may be a bit of flowery, as the saying goes, but I know myself he was sitting over his boots day and night to the very last. So if I told you he died of slow starvation, I would be exaggerating. It would be flowery, but I watched him sitting over his boots day and night continuously to the very last till he died. You see, I used to watch him, never gave himself time to eat. He never took time off to eat, never had even a penny paise in his house, all went in rent and leather. So he did not have any money to have food, buy food. No, not even one penny was in his house. So all the money that he earned went in to pay the rent and buy leather. How he lived so long, I don't know. He regularly let his fire go out. He was a character, but he made good boots. No doubt he regular let his fire go out, life go out. He just wore himself out. He was a best man, he was a excellent man, he was a character, and he made very good boots. Yes, Isaiah, he made very good boots, and I turned and went on quickly, for I didn't want that youth to know that I could hardly see. My eyes were full of tears. I couldn't see him properly. I didn't want him to know that I was emotional. I was weeping. So I came off the shop.